Hi, everybody. At the Movies with Film. I'm here standing in for Film. He's off doing some silly thing, and I guess last minute he came into the cage and told me I had to come in here. So, here I am. Dutifully doing what Film wants. I'm always working for the man, if you will. Well, I don't mind doing that. Film is an important friend, a friend of the gorilla, of the ape movement. He seems to have sympathy for us. I was over in my cage just previewing some movies over there on my VCR, swinging on my swing set there. Oh, I love that tire swing. Can't wait to get back there, as a matter of fact. So let's talk about the movie that we have here for us tonight. Well, I'm glad he asked me to come in and talk about this film, because I am a great fan of Lillian Gish. Believe it or not, I love Lillian Gish. And this happens to be I think, one of her best films. Some people might disagree with me. They might put Broken Blossoms in there or something else. But I'm really kind of attached to Way Down East. And of course, you know that if you hear that it's Lillian Gish, it's probably D.W. Griffith. Yes, it is. 1920, just after doing Broken Blossoms. It also stars, well, who else? David Barthelmess. You remember, he was also with Lillian Gish in Broken Blossoms with D.W. Griffith. Now this film, the source for this film is one of those old Victorian plays. By the time that Griffith came to working with it in 1920, it had already been played 1,000,000 times all across the United States. It's a real potboiler of a melodrama. It's one of those typical stories of basically city life versus country life, and a poor country girl who is wooed into the embraces of a slick city-ster who leads her down the path of sin. And she has to pay and be ostracized and eventually maybe brought back in. The hallmark of this film, shot by Billy Bitzer and Henrik Sartov, is, well, there's a scene in here that a lot of you know about already. It's the great, well, ice flow scene. A scene where Lillian Gish wanders out onto a river in the winter. And what happens in this scene is a marvelous example of cinematography and editing, where we see Lillian Gish floating across a broken ice floe, floating down the river towards the waterfall. And her arm and hair is hanging and dangling into the water. Actually, it was her hair and hands dangling in the water. She actually got a little bit of frostbite from this experience. And she is, well, is she going to be rescued or not? It's amazing that at the time in 1920, when other countries are experimenting with things like Caligari, the German Expressionist movement, and other art movements across the world are sort of going abstract, gone knowing, non-realistic, and sort of rebelling against basic forms of melodrama, D.W. Griffith here in the United States is still feeling very comfortable working in that melodramatic structure. Maybe that's his hallmark. Maybe that's his downfall. But give him his due. He does a marvelous job in enlivening the old wine. It's interesting in this one. This was probably his most successful film financially. And it's using probably some of the most, well, old world melodramatic conveniences and convivances and trappings of the old melodrama that were tried and true and probably very much cliched by this time. But he made it work. Lillian Gish, fantastic job in this movie. David Barthelmess does a wonderful job in this film. Griffith handles his talent very well. I think that's maybe more of a hallmark for Griffith than some of the other things that people tend to give him credit for. For instance, cross-cutting, which he took a lot of credit for, uses of close-ups, which he took a lot of credit for. But I think if I had to give Griffith any great credit, it is handling of actors and of talent. Well, take it from an ape. I know a lot about talent. I see a lot of talent when I'm sitting in my cage looking outside at all those people out there making fools of themselves, throwing me peanuts and things. So I like the peanuts. Don't get me wrong. Don't obey that sign out there that says don't feed the creatures. Feed them. Okay, we need that stuff. You know, we need that. That's our snacks. You ever seen what they really feed us? Eesh. That's why I like Film. He comes by and throws us the good stuff. Cheesecake, Film. Want cheesecake next time with plenty of strawberries. Well, enjoy this film way down east. D.W. Griffith, we've seen a few of his on here. Think you're going to have a good time with this film. Now, Film said something while he ran by and told me to get in here. He said, make sure that you remind people to shoot him emails. And he said, here's a little trivia game that you can play. Way down east, the direction east. Think of how many films out there that you can think of that have the word east in it. A few leap to mind real quick, but see how fast you sort of maybe run into trouble. West, maybe you'll find a lot with west, okay? Things with north to Alaska, you know, those kinds of things, you know, and south of the border, all that stuff. Think of east. Maybe Griffith was onto something. East is a good one to work with. Way down east. Roll 'em, Smokey.